Hello and welcome. You're tuned into CNBC-TV18 Prime. Let's get cracking on a brand new edition of The Big C. I'm Manisha and with me is Nigel Dsouza, back with your daily dose of commodities, cryptos and currencies. We will be joined by Sabrin Chaudhary of BMI to talk all things soft commodities and the road ahead for the metal prices. We will be also joined by Siroya Jewellers and Chandu Siroya to discuss precious metals as a sector going forward. But Nigel, what do we have today?
Well, we'll be getting to those two interesting discussions in just a bit, but a quick check on the global equity markets. First up, Wall Street is coming off a winning week, largely fueled by strong earnings and recent developments on the trade deal front, including Japan and Indonesia. The US indices closed Friday and the week with solid gains. Meanwhile, stock futures, well, they're up after the US inked an agreement with the European Union to lower tariffs to around 15%. The street is also gearing up for a busiest week of earnings season. Among other cues, we'll also keep a close eye on what the Federal Reserve has to say when it holds its two-day meet later this week. The US Central Bank is largely expected to hold interest rates at around 4.25 to around 4.5% range. But we'll also keep an eye out on all the slew of earnings that are due. It's going to be a very, very earnings-heavy week. And there are signs of mixed trade in Asia, across Asia-Pacific. Investors are now watching out for some clarity on the US-China talks. And back home, well, it's a bit of a choppy session. The Nifty seems to be losing its way a little bit, breaking some crucial technical levels. We're trading below the 25,000 odd mark, but the hope is at least we can defend that 24,500 odd mark, because this week we have the expiry as well that does play out.
Oh, yes, there's so much data and so much earnings coming in from the international markets this time that apart from equities, the commodities would be keeping a pace on that. Well, shifting focus to the crude oil prices then, and the prices are trading higher as trade deals continue to fuel optimism. Remember, the prices did settle lower in the previous week. We did see a 3-week lows in the crude oil prices on Friday as the global trade concerns and expectations of more oil supply from Venezuela continue to weigh onto the markets there. But joining us now is Sabrin Chaudhary. She's head of commodities at BMI, and she joins us with a sense on all of that space. Sabrin, hi, thank you so much for joining in. And with all of those trade deals now happening during the weekdays, over the weekend as well, and there are various statements that we are dealing with at this point in time, how are you looking at commodities, especially metals, reacting to this today?
So metals have been the major outperformer among all sub-asset classes within commodities this year. Industrial metals have been really strong. Precious metals have gained more than 20% in the year to date. So industrial metals as well as precious metals are doing really well. Thanks to tariff announcements that have boosted, for instance, copper recently. Iron ore has been boosted, but that is due to the hydropower dam project coming up in China. So ferrous metals remains dictated by China mostly, activities in China, but we have seen quite a lot of movement in general commodity prices due to trade announcements and the impact of the US dollar.
Okay, all right. Hi, Sabrin. Good to see you, Ben. Let's focus on industrial metals first, because, the problem is the globe is still in a flux. And China has yet to show a material improvement out there. Though, as you said, quite a few of these base metal prices, like aluminium as well as copper, even zinc actually has shown signs of coming back up. From the basket, what do you like? And how do you see the price trajectory move from here on?
So the most, the metal with the strongest outlook is obviously copper this year. Gold prices have already performed pretty well, and there is limited upside for gold going forward. But in terms of industrial metals, I would say there is a little bit of upside for iron ore as well as copper going forward due to various different factors affecting individual commodities.
So, Sabrina, if you would want to share the price levels with us, what would that be? How are we looking at copper prices by the end of this year? Where do you see iron ore? Because these are the couple of metals that you're most bullish on.
Yes, so iron ore is near $100 a ton at the moment. It's about 4% up in the year to date. So prices are likely to stay within $95 to $100 a ton till the end of the year. But of course, that is also contingent on any further stimulus measures announced from China. Copper is around $9,800 a ton at the moment. We do see that LME prices could head lower instead of higher as the tariff impact hits prices starting August. So LME prices will head slightly lower to around $9,500 a ton. COMEX prices will go higher. So overall, on the average, copper prices should average around $9,500 a ton in 2025.
Okay, all right. What about aluminium prices? You have alumina that's suddenly perked up and it's been very, very volatile. But we have seen in the past when alumina gets its act together, then we have some sort of a base coming in for aluminium prices as well. How do you see that one headed?
So aluminium has been strong as well, and in June it saw a little bit of a rise. That is due to the conflict between Israel and Iran, because a lot of aluminium is transported via the Strait of Hormuz. So there was a bit of a panic in the market with regards to how supply disruption would impact global imports and exports. But at the same time, that has calmed down a little bit. So volatility has eased slightly. Generally, with regards to aluminium, it is also being impacted by the volatility of the US dollar, as is most of the metals in the market. So going forward, we do see prices to hold up for aluminium as well as the other metals. We don't really see any collapse or crash for industrial metals in the next few months.
Sabrina, also comment on the precious metals then, and as you earlier mentioned, we've already seen all-time highs for gold, and it seems to be consolidating quite strongly around those levels itself, and silver seems to have outperformed in the very, very near term. But with the industrial metals running, do you see more support coming in for silver going forward? And here as well, are you working with any price targets, let's say, for the end of this year?
So for gold, our average for this year will be $3,100 to $3,200 an ounce. Right now, prices are around the 3,400 levels. Now, that is obviously much lower than the $3,500 we saw in April. And we don't think prices could go beyond that historical high that was reached earlier in April. And this is mainly because even with the conflict in the Middle East in June, prices failed to break through historical highs. So when geopolitical uncertainty goes higher, gold prices also go higher. Gold benefits from uncertainty, but it wasn't able to break through the highs reached in April. And at the same time, now there is talk of the US Fed not raising rates in its September meeting due to slightly higher inflation that we're seeing from 2.4% to 2.7% from May to June. So in that sense, then there is a strong pressure building up on gold prices. So we might not see gold prices breaking through the historic highs of 3,500 yet, unless there's a big cut by the US Fed or there is a huge escalation in geopolitical uncertainty, especially in the Middle East. So going forward, we see gold to be range bound around $3,200 to $3,500 an ounce.
So you briefly mentioned Fed action. That's going to be the big cue, right? Later this week. And in all probability, the hope is at least you have some stability out there. And, Trump and Powell could at least look eyeball to eyeball and come up with the best for the US economy. That said, what are you expecting from them? There's a very, very outside chance or very slim chance of any kind of rate cut. Though most on the street believe there's no chance this time around. When do you see the Fed moving and by what quantum for the remaining of this calendar year?
So our core view is that the US Fed will cut 2 more times this year, starting in September. However, the probability of that has started to decline, as I mentioned, due to a slight increase in inflation that we have seen from May to June, likely in July as well, due to the impact of the tariffs. So if inflation continues to rise, then obviously the probability of the US Fed cutting rates will go lower, and that will be detrimental to gold prices.
Sabrina, you also follow the soft commodities, and this is where the good news really comes in from, because we've seen inflation continue to decline. So whether I'm looking at softs like coffee or cocoa or sugar for that matter, even the edible oil as a sector, grains for that matter, everything really seems to be trading in the minus for 2025. How are you looking at the overall sector?
Yes, so agricultural commodities have been the major loser in the year to date thus far. A lot of these are actually the unwinding of the shock that the market experienced as the Russia-Ukraine crisis hit everybody in 2022 due to the large role that these two markets play in global agricultural commodity markets. So now that the tensions, even with the tensions, the markets have rebalanced themselves. Supply disruptions are no longer there. On the contrary, we're seeing quite a lot of positive harvest expectations. For instance, if you're looking at the coffee market, we are seeing a greater production in Vietnam and Brazil, in the cocoa market, better production in West African markets. So the markets have started to rebalance, and that has really impacted prices significantly in light of the fact that global growth is also decelerating. So the outlook does not look great for agricultural commodities this year.
Oh, wow. Global growth is decelerating. I don't know whether it's a good news or not for the farmers, though. But Sabrina, as we wind down this conversation, one word on how are you looking at the prices moving forward? Because we're down anywhere between 5 to 15% for many of these soft commodities. Anywhere that you think the prices are creating a bottom now and could see some stability, even gains? And then I would also like to know from you on where do you think that the prices can continue to decline in some of these soft commodities? So if you could pick up, gainer and a loser for us within the segment.
So the loser has been cocoa, of course. For cocoa, prices are looking to head a little bit lower. We do not expect any more collapse. I feel that most of the downside in agricultural commodity prices is now behind us. We don't expect significant weakening from here, but at the same time, there could still be weakening if production outlooks are revised upwards for many of these commodities. On the other hand, the production outlook for wheat grains, wheat looks more negative compared to others. So that will be a positive for wheat prices. So wheat prices will likely hold up compared to the rest of the agricultural sub-asset class.
So Sabrina, you're saying that the cocoa prices can head further down while wheat could see some support?
Yes.
All right, point taken. Sabrina, as always, thank you so much for joining in and talking about metals, precious metals, soft commodities as well. I mean, you're a good one to go to get a sense on overall commodities there. And we hope to speak to you very soon yet again. Appreciate your time today. Well, with that, it's time for a short breather. On the other side of the show, we will talk to all things precious metals with Chandu Suraya of Suraya Jewellers. He joins us from Dubai. Stay tuned for that conversation. Joining us on the show now is Chandu Suraya. He's MD Suraya Jewellers. Mr. Suraya, hi, thank you so much for taking time out for us. And we do see some consolidation come in for the gold prices. And even as those long-term targets of 3,800 is something that we occasionally hear, but it is about consolidation and even some decline for the very near term. And would you say that might work positively, really, as we get into the buying season, the last 2 quarters of the year?
First of all, good afternoon. I believe that the gold prices are right now at a level where it could go up or down both. And this is the magical or the buzzword today, the tariffs. And it all depends on what are the discussions which happen on the 1st of August and where we stand on the 1st of August. So the gold could go up, gold could go down. The chance of gold going up is a little less than going down also, because everybody has already discounted the fact that there might be little upheavals. But what we have seen, majority of the countries have fallen in line with what America wants, and they have been doing exactly what was expected from them. So I do believe that we will see stability at this level. We will not see too many ups, maybe a little downs, but not too many.
Okay, all right. Hi, Mr. Suraya. Thanks a lot for joining in on the show. Then what's the new gold? Gold had a phenomenal run, right, in the last 18 months or so. People track the stock market and talk about making XYZ returns, but gold has outperformed most asset classes. If gold's going to take a bit of a break, what will glitter in the near term?
Jewelry.
Jewelry.
You see, you see, I'm a hardcore jeweler, so I do believe that right now is the time when we have to buy jewelry because this is one of the best investment, and I don't see gold going down too much. I'm saying it will consolidate. It may not move too much up. We have already seen 41% year-on-year increase, so it's been a one-way drive, and there has to be some profit taking which will happen as soon as the things are sealed in the American tariff discussions. I'm sure there will be a little bit of consolidation, but do I see gold going to 3,000 levels? No, I don't see them going in a hurry because all the central banks have been buying gold and
Okay.
they continue to do that.
All right. Do you see silver, though, going to $45, $50?
That is a possibility, but we don't know what has been happening last few weeks, and all of a sudden there's been a lot of buying on silver. There's been a selling of take of everything has been happening. So it's very difficult to understand exactly where it is going. But yes, I do see silver going up a little bit because it is, after all, the poor man's gold. Gold has become so expensive that it is not easy for everybody to buy. And silver ornaments also are now coming into play. A lot of designers are using silver. They are using silver even in lab-grown diamond jewelry. So I do see a little uptake happening for silver in the jewelry field. As far as the industrial use of silver is concerned, I'm not too sure because I'm not qualified to answer that. But yes, there is a movement on silver and it will continue. It will continue ups and downs as and when the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, it all depends on the geopolitical conditions and the American tariffs.
Mr. Saroya, then let me ask a very hardcore jeweler here that if he had to deploy capital, 100% of it in gold and silver and platinum and diamonds and lab-growns, how is it going to be deployed?
Wow. I'm not too sure that many people might like this answer, but I would say 60% in gold, 30% or 20% in platinum. As far as the investor is concerned, or if you count it as an investment, you see a little bit sorry, I rephrased, not 60%, maybe 30 to 40% in gold. Then you should buy diamonds. But when you buy diamonds, the natural diamonds, you must buy only the good quality. Do not go for the lower quality because that is going to take a further beating as the lab-grown diamonds are coming into effect. And many people, even rich people, are buying lab-grown diamonds because when you go for a lower quality, you are actually making a big adjustment on your diamond demand, on your diamond craving. So why not remove that adjustment going for lower quality and go for a higher quality lab-grown? So I see that both of these will be there. So I would say if you are buying bigger pieces, buy the lab-grown. But if you are looking for high quality diamonds, then buy the natural. They have to be set in gold. Gold could be a little lower carat today. 9 carat and 14 carat is becoming popular everywhere. And even in India, people have started making jewelry in 14 carat, which was not so a few years ago. But yes, and silver is the new thing. And I do believe that we should have silver jewelry also in our kitty. A woman should have because it is unique. The oxidized silver, for example, our antique silver jewelry looks amazing. And that should be promoted also.
Well, I absolutely am taking that point there, Nigel, that as he said, if you're not buying high quality diamonds, might as well lab grown them because then it's not an investment.
Yeah.
So that is a very, very valuable advice. Mr. Surya, you also talked about jewelry. And if you look at the last 3 quarters, last 2 for sure, we haven't seen a very strong jewelry demand, not from India, not from Asia, and most part of the other, important organizations or other world areas as well. Are you looking at jewelry demand finally picking up as we see consolidation in prices?
You see, jewelry is very, if you have a festival or a function, then you have to buy jewelry. But what people have been doing is they've been adjusting the quantity in terms of the design. For example, earlier, if somebody was buying a 50-gram piece, they would buy a 20, 30-gram piece. So the physical quantity offtake has reduced. But if you see all the jewelers, they will say our turnover is almost similar to what it was last year because of the increase in the gold price. So yes, I do see that. Internationally, everywhere, the demand for gold jewelry has been down maybe 20 to 30% because of the uncertainty in the gold price. But as we see the things stabilizing, I'm sure people will return to gold because gold is, after all, one of the best investment you could do.
Mr. Surya, just one word on that diamond jewelry question, because prices, they slid a lot and then they tried to find some bit of a base. And then we did see some kind of recovery that came about. Do you think the worst in terms of pricing is behind and things will recover from here on? Because you speak to a lab-grown a company, they'll say that, there was also pressure on natural diamonds, may not be as much. So short point is the worst in the price?
We're talking about natural diamond
Natural,
pricing. Yes,
yes.
I think we are beyond that. But as I mentioned, lower quality diamonds may suffer still, but the higher quality will definitely stay, and I'm sure the demand will increase because as people realize that the lab-grown diamonds have become so cheap that anybody can buy it, natural diamonds will come back. I'm sure of that.
Nigel, what are you buying, lab-growns or naturals?
I have to be,
Good quality natural diamonds.
No, actually, for the first time I entered a store, I won't name it, but in Bandra West, I went down and I went to buy lab-grown diamonds. But at this stage of my life, I decided that it's not worth it because it was for me. so I maybe for the wife and the daughter, maybe I'll flex it a little bit. But for the time being, but it's interesting. Very, very interesting.
But the pricing point is really interesting.
Pricing point, couldn't make out. I mean, it looked really good as well. So,
oh, yes,
it's been a while since I put a couple of earrings on, but yeah, I did.
Not that.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I mean, I've not put a earring on in 10 years. But over the weekend, I went to a store.
That's the Nigel we haven't known.
On store, yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, even I couldn't recognize myself.
Mr. Surya, when it comes to the demand like that into the markets there, how are you looking at growth there? Because, the last couple of years haven't been so strong. We haven't seen the demand. I mean, I take your point, as you mentioned, that the turnout perhaps has been as equal because the value has gone up, the volume not so much. Do you see all of that in some sense balancing now in the next 2 quarters?
Yes, I do. I do. I believe the gold price will stabilize around 3,200, as my other friend said. And when the people see that the gold price has stabilized, and after all, every woman's desire is to have gold and to have diamonds and to have beautiful jewelry and to make her look more beautiful than what she would feel otherwise. Of course, having said that, there is a lot of artificial jewelry also which is coming into play. But gold and diamonds are amazing. It gives a lot of confidence to the wearer, to the person who is wearing it. And I think we will see the return of demand in the next 6 months or so, definitely.
Mrs. Royal,
As jewelers, we are all talking about expansion right now. As jewelers, we are talking about expansion, consolidation and expansion.
Well, that sounds positive, really, because as the markets don't do very well, that's the time that you start expanding, consolidating as well. Mr. Surya, one final question. So, we've been talking about this for some time now. We keep talking about women and jewelry, but I think it was with you the last time that we spoke that 50% of population is still men. Are we looking at that demand increasing? I mean, this plateauing, that increasing perhaps?
In fact, we have launched jewelry for men. We have the Monaco chains, which is predominantly for males, and it is being worn by females and males. It's a unisex design today. So yes, a lot of play is happening in the men's jewelry. There is a lot of platinum jewelry which is coming into play for men's also. So yes, all the brands are now targeting the male populations also, because they are the people who have the money also, and if it can be stylish, if there is a few of the stars wearing it, why not me? And it is what will make you differentiate yourself with the rest. You see, there's a lot of demand for jewelry watches. Gold watches are in demand everywhere, and we see more and more people investing in gold watches. So yes, they are wearing gold in terms of watches. Why not jewelry? There's a lot of bracelets which are being designed, cufflinks, buttons,
Wow.
kurta buttons. Everything is coming in.
Need to
gold
check
and,
it out.
diamonds.
Yes. You know, Nigel, I went for the F1 movie and there is this green emerald that Brad Pitt wears in a couple of... Have you seen that?
No, I've not
All
seen
right,
it.
so,
But it must be
since the-
something.
Oh, it is. You know, when you're watching all of those cars running around, you cannot miss this emerald pendant that he's wearing, the Brad Pitt is wearing, and almost everybody seems to be talking about that. So if you're heading out to buy something, I think that is one thing
Stage of
you
life,
should
Manisha.
own. All right. Mr. Siroya, thank you so much for joining in. Well, that's about jewelry, gold and silver prices, and of course, men's jewelry. That really seems to be dominating discussion today. But with that, that's all the time that we have on the show today. It's goodbye from me and Nigel until we bring you more news and updates tomorrow.